Hey everybody, it's Kaladesh, and welcome back to our final Kaladesh Remastered Premier Draft this time around. And we're going to end the format with an absolute bang. We open up the strongest Planeswalker in the set, Chandra, Torch of Defiance. Incredible card. I played her in Standard, and one of the very few times I actually played Standard. Just a super sick card for any kind of deck. A card draw engine with the +1, some mana ramp with the other +1, a removal spell with the -3. She could be multiple removal spells if she sticks around, multiple pieces of card draw if she sticks around. Just an incredible card that I'm super happy to start with here. So without further ado, let's get into this draft and draft a sick final deck. Pick number 2, pretty easy Filigree Familiar. This is a very solid value play for any deck, and that's what makes it such a good high pick in the draft format. We don't have to commit to any other colors here and take this. If there were a really good red card in the pack, I'd still absolutely take that over the Familiar because I'm kind of already locked in on red off of a card as powerful as Chandra. But I'm certainly not dipping into a second color for a decently strong card like an Ether Poisoner or Peem Outrider or something when I can just take the really strong colorless spell as well. Super good value off of Filigree Familiar. Pick 3, we have the very good Metallic Rebuke counterspell. Improvising with servos, Thopters, Prophetic Prisms, vehicles, anything like that makes this play like a mana leak or even cheaper, which is awesome. Sweatworks Brawler is a solid aggressive creature though with that menace. And I kind of like just planting our flag firmly in the ground here and just making some very clear signals to everybody on our left that we're not going to pass a single good red card. We passed no red in pack 2, and then now again, the only red card really, Cathartic Reunion, Weldfast Monitor, incredibly filler stuff. And honestly, Sweatworks Brawler, one of the top 3 cards in the pack. I think the pick order here is Metallic Rebuke number 1, Spire Patrol number 2, Sweatworks Brawler number 3 in terms of just raw power. But again, that Chandra really leaning towards the Sweatworks Brawler over the other 2 for me there. Pick 4, Reckless Fireweaver is playable. So we are passing a fine red card this pack, but it's not like a signal for anybody to jump into red, so I'm still so happy to just take another Filigree Familiar, which is certainly better than Fireweaver. Pick 5, we see a decently late Thriving Rhino that can get super big. There's also the Daring Demolition for a great removal spell. But again, the top 3 cards are Thriving Rhino number 1, Daring Demolition number 2, Brawler number 3 in terms of power level, in my opinion. I really don't think they're massively far off to where I can just keep cutting off red here and take the Sweatworks Brawler. Pick 6, the red cards in this pack are all quite bad now. Ruinous Gremlin, Quicksmith Genius, Cathartic Reunion, but all of the cards in the pack as a whole are quite bad at this point. So there's not even like another color to speculate on here. We're just taking some nonsense. We're going to cut 9 times out of 10. I guess the Infiltrator for a really aggressive Boros deck could be okay filler. But it's still kind of filler, so I'll just take Quicksmith Genius if I'm just taking filler anyway. Pick 7, nothing much. Mediocre blue removal spell. Fine filler black creature, giving us a potentially wide board state or making a menacing threat. Take the Malfist squad there. Pick 8, Welding Sparks. Let's go. There's no way I'm passing that. Excellent red removal in this format. Not too hard to get a couple artifacts on board. Have this be a deal 5 or 6. Pick 9, Spireside Infiltrator's fine filler. Honestly, better than Quicksmith Genius generally for the synergy with vehicles. Pick number 10. Nothing playable here, even in a secondary color, except maybe Appetite for the Unnatural, so I suppose I'll take that. Pick 11, Metallic Rebuke, pick 11. It's kind of wild. Hinterland Drake, not that bad as well. So still just definitely red. Second color's kind of still wide open. I mean, even if I open up a really strong white, rare, or mythic, we could do that instead. We're like 2 cards deep into a secondary color at most. Everything we've taken is pretty quality except for Genius and Infiltrator. And Appetite, I think these are our 3 fillerist cards. But Squad, Rebuke, Drake, those are all pretty solid too. And all of the red cards outside of these at the side are pretty good too. Okay, so here's add this to the nonsense filler pile here. These are the premium cards we want to keep our eye on that are convincing us to go a specific way. So pack 2, pick 1. I hate this pack. Honestly, I don't think this is a very good pack at all. Dynavolt Tower is cute. If you cast 3, basically for every 3 instants or sorceries you cast, you get to deal 3 to any target, which is just a little too slow, even with a lot of other energy production. We currently have no energy production, so I'm just not interested in Dynavolt Tower. Dawn Feather Eagle's probably the best card, just at the top end of your curve in the white decks, giving the whole board +1/+1 vigilance is big. But I don't want to pack one, or sorry, I don't want to pick one that, but I mean, the uncommons are just slow, dirtily, not super playable. The commons are pretty bad all around, except like maybe one of these green ramp cards is okay, but I just prefer Dawn Feather Eagle at that point. Pretty big miss of a pack to open up there. Pack 2, pick 2, however, we get another Sweatworks Brawler, or I could go deeper into white with Glint Sleeve Artisan or Propeller Pioneer. One of these creatures that spits out multiple bodies off the one spell is actually quite decent. Leave in the Dust is a decent blue bounce spell. Seed Sculptor is a decent green creature. Die Young, pretty filler. Small removal out of black, but still removal. I think this pack's a lot better. I think I'm going to go Artisan after taking that Eagle here. Get a second card deeper into this color. Don't really want to go like my very first card deep into green. And I don't think I'm going to want more than like 3 brawlers maximum, so I don't want to take the 3rd brawler this early. Pack 2, pick 3. Another Welding Sparks is incredible. Glint Nest Crane is also very, very good. If your artifact count is high, you get a 2-mana 1/3 flyer plus draw an artifact off of it. Ether Swooper also incredible. Alright, I guess maybe I should have taken the random blue bounce spell there, but I don't feel like I'll be missing a ton by not having it here, even if I do end up pushing to blue, which it kind of looks like I will off of this pack. So, play our millionth blue deck. That is most likely, but I mean, even in that deck, Welding Sparks is going to be really good. Probably a little weaker than Swooper or Glint Nest Crane, but not a ton, and I do need removal. I think I take the removal really highly. I'm going to take Sparks here. Maybe we're still not 100% committed to blue. Yeah, like there's another Dawn Feather Eagle here. We can be Boros. This way I'll have played every color at least once. We haven't drafted a white deck yet this time around. So that's kind of a factor here. Just trying to win. Probably locking in on blue-red is great because blue-red is like the best archetype, but I've also played it like 3 times already, I think, this time around. At least twice. I've played that exact color pair, but I've also done like red-green, blue-green. I've done so many combinations of the blue and red space in this format that doing a little bit of white would feel nice. So let's do that. Let's kind of force that at this point. Force our way off the blue. Pick 5, Eddy Trailhawk, Aviary Mechanic. These are both fine filler. Go for the Hawk. I don't see any particularly good synergies for Mechanic yet. There's some cards you could have with it that are really nice, but we don't really have any like that we want to like pick up and recast. I guess I could gain a couple more life off Familiar, but that's a bunch of mana, or try to activate Eagle again, that's also a bunch of mana. Just curve out, get some attacks in the sky quickly. Furious Reprisal is fine. It's a little expensive, but 2 damage to 2 targets can sometimes kill 2 things, which is very, very good. So we'll take the Reprisal. It's kind of worth the slightly expensive cost. Here's Pyro Helix, which is mini Reprisal. First Self-Assembler, pack 2 pick 7. What are the odds of getting a second one at that point? I mean, a lot of people passed this one. So if another copy gets opened, we probably do get to have double. But in Boros, our 5-drop slot is going to be really contested with Dawn Feather Eagles, and I do really like that cheap Pyro Helix style burn. I can't resist, though. I can never resist the charm of Self-Assembler. Plus, another aspect I'm trying to consider here is that I think we've cut red enough that we might be able to actually get some of those random little Pyro Helixes late. I mean, you've seen some of the earlier drafts on this return trip. I've gotten a Pyro Helix literally last pick. Now, I highly doubt that that is going to happen often, but Pyro Helix has gone kind of criminally late lately for me. Filler 3-drop. Wheel all of the Sweatworks Brawlers in the world. Wheel a Swooper? What? Alright, we're more of a built to smash deck here. Puzzle Knot also fine. Puzzle Knot does curve into the Brawler as well. I'll actually go Puzzle Knot. We have 4 improvising 4 drops. Wow, yeah, this was such a pod for blue too. I'm not going to play Rebel or Hijack, so I'll just take the Rebuke. Alright. Bunch of cheap creatures, please. Well, there you go. 1 mana haster that refuels your entire hand later. Sack this and draw a million. Don't mind if I do. Beaumont Courier is going to be fantastic to start our curve off. Pack 3, pick 2. Ooh, a mythic rare. Don't mind if I do. Cataclysmic Gearhulk is disgusting because it is not like a one-sided board wipe. You're both going to be losing stuff, but because of its ability, you get to keep the Gearhulk as your artifact and then your best creature as well. So you get to keep a 4/5 Vigilance and your best creature, and your opponent only gets to keep their best creature. This is a format with a lot of token production as well between servos and Thopters and stuff, so there can be some wide boards. I think Cataclysmic Gearhulk is pretty busted. Pick 3, I really don't mind another Puzzle Knot here, again with 4 copies of Brawler. Turn 2 Puzzle Knot, turn 3 tap the Puzzle Knot to play the Brawler as a 3-drop instead of a 4-drop seems legit. So I will run that. I am really looking for more cheap creatures, but not enough to play just a 2-mana 1/1 from Servo Schematic. Okay, now I will take an Audacious Infiltrator or a Fire Weaver, though. We're not spitting out any Thopter tokens. We're not spitting out any Servo tokens. I don't think we're getting a ton of Fire Weaver pings, so I'm actually going to go for Infiltrator. The 1 toughness is a pretty big downside to Infiltrator, but because it can't be blocked by artifact creatures, one of the major downsides to that 1 toughness is less relevant, right? The fact that there are servos and Thopters matters a lot less when they can't block the Infiltrator anyway. But the downside is that it is still really weak to the 1 damage removal spells like Puzzle Knot and Chandra's Pyrohelix and Subtle Strike out of black. Pick 5. All right, we got the second Self-Assembler. Sorry, Beaumont Bazaar Barge, good card, but I need the second Self-Assembler to be able to run the first in the first place. It's a pretty high curve Boros deck. This is awkward because, again, there's just no good 1 or 2 drops. I'm not going to play a 1-mana 1/1 Gremlin. Even if its activated ability is somewhat relevant, the card is pretty poor. Pick 6. We have double Sparks, Reprisal, Chandra, Cataclysmic Gearhulk, double Puzzle Knot for removal. As good as Chandra's Revolution is, I think we have enough removal to pass it for another way to get a wide board, which is what I'm really looking for, just more early creatures. 3 mana is a little more than I would hope for. Really wanting those 2 drops, but out of all the 3 drops, this is one of the better ones for going wide into a Dawn Feather Eagle late game. Get the 2/2 and the 1/1 buff both with the Eagle at the top of the curve. All right, pick 7. I do like Sky Skiff. But I just need 2 mana creatures, so Restoration Specialist it is. Just a 2 mana 2/1 on curve, but we can sack it, pick up a Familiar, Puzzle Knot, Self-Assembler, Beaumont Courier, any of that stuff from our grave. Ooh, Renegade Wheelsmith. Sure. Kind of adding to our mana curve issues of just a stack at 3, but good card is a good card. Shuts off blockers every time it attacks. Every time it crews stuff as well, but we don't really have vehicles here. Pick number 9. I'm not playing 5 Sweatworks Brawlers. But I'm also not playing Prophetic Prism or Mobile Garrison in this deck, so go in the sideboard. Brawler 5. Pick number 10. Built to Smash is fine. Probably don't have room for that. Yeah, I would want more 1 and 2 mana creatures to be particularly excited about the Built to Smash. Probably dropping Infiltrator without vehicles for it. Going 16 lands here. I have insane 5 drops. I kind of want to go full 17 this deck. Just cut 1 of the Brawlers. Seems pretty fine. Yeah, there we go. And then this is a full 17 land Boros Brew. Sounds good to me. Looks like a very powerful, very explosive way to end the Kaladesh Remastered format. Yeah, pretty pumped about it. Kind of just built the deck during the draft there, so let's just hop right into the gameplay. Alright, here we are for game number 1. Filigree Familiar into Chandra is a heck of a way to start a game here. We are on the draw, so if they've got an aggressive curve, we're going to be taking some early damage, like an Ether Swoop or Ether Poisoner here. Sky Skiff as well. They can just crew that turn 3. Great draw for us. We hit one of our 2 drops, the Audacious Infiltrator, to get that curve going. Turn 3 from our opponent, a full Esper deck, blue, white, black. Aviary Mechanic, they can pick up something if they want to recast it, but there's no reason to right now. Just going to jam in with a Sky Skiff, I assume. No, they want to be able to trade on blocks. Fair enough. That stops our top deck Beaumont Courier awkwardly, so that does play pretty well for them. I'm fine with Infiltrator into Mechanic trade. Just prolong the game a bit. We've got really good late game in this hand between Chandra and a bunch of Eagles. So I am quite nervous about Chandra just running her out and minusing, because then if they play any creature, they can just crew the Skiff and kill Chandra. So I don't really want to just play Chandra and minus, but I could play Chandra and plus, play the Courier in the same turn, or I could, oh boy, just wait till we have Eagles out. And now I really kind of just want to wait till I have Eagles out, because even if I Chandra and plus, they have tons of damage they can send her way. That Augmenter is terrifying for us here. Yeah, okay, Brawler's a good draw. Because now I can just double up both of these to have a super wide board for our Dawnfeather Eagles. And just a super wide board in general. So after a single Eagle, we're probably a big enough board to start Chandraing. Just need a single Eagle to stop taking Skiff damage. And the Brawler and the Familiar already stopped the ground attacks. They got an Eagle of their own? That would be pretty bad. Could still have Familiar trained to Augmenter and draw a card. If they do. Windkin Raiders, big flyer. Okay, 3/3 still trades into that. Very happy with our Dawnfeather Eagles this game. I mean, if we hit the mana for them, we are 1 land away. Did not hit the mana for them, but Puzzle Knot is really fine on this board. I don't have the mana to sack it. So I only get the 1 ping here. If I attack with Familiar, it's a little awkward if they block Familiar with Augmenter, because that's what I was going to Puzzle Knot. But I guess I could just Puzzle Knot a Servo instead, and that's still fine. It is really good if they do block with Windkin Raiders. And actually, it's not that awkward, actually, if they kill Familiar, because come to think of it, like, I really need land 5, so drawing the extra card towards it is value right there. Okay, we didn't hit it. Now I can just play Glint Sleeve Artisan instead. Since I drew that. Yeah, these Dawnfeather Eagles still looking so live off of just the mana. Then they're insane on this board still. Propeller, Pioneer. Alright, Puzzle Knot really good against that. Unless they chunk it up, in which case it is still the 1-for-1 removal. Yep, crew up the Skiff. I could just die to the Flyers before I hit the Eagle mana, but that would be pretty frustrating. I did go for the full 17 lander for this reason, because we have great 5s. If I miss the land again, I might have to Chandra and force some of the attacks onto the Chandra, and then if Chandra doesn't die, then she gives us the 5th mana, but there we go, there's the 5th mana. So we're doing the thing. Super lucky that was not Rebuke there. That would have been mega bad for me. Honestly, Courier's fine too. They only kill it by blocking with Propeller Pioneer. Which is just a good trade. Okay. Well, very happy with that. Very happy with that outcome. Sure, you can plus your +3 trick me or whatever. Actual trade again? Whew, this is going really well. Wow, yeah, just a glint sleeve artisan. Dawn Feather Eagle. OP. Drop another one. Should be super happy. I gotta be blocking the flyers by the time I play the Chandra, yeah. And we're blocking the flyers here. They're playing off the top. I got a 3/3 flyer against the 2/3s. Artisan for artisan trade. They're playing off the top, but I got a Chandra to throw around willy-nilly. Uh-oh, first draw looks very relevant. 5 mana. Oh, wow. Yeah, pretty good blind top deck. Draw 2 more cards, get another flyer, gain 2 life. But hey, Self-Assembler's also a pretty good top deck. Not quite as great here. So they could attack Chandra with 3/2/2 flyers. Unless they draw a removal spell, she still won't die. She'll have 5 loyalty. Man. I can't play Chandra and minus. They just have too many flyers. I might just have to puzzle out the Cloud Blazer here, honestly. I need to be clearing out the flyers. No, man. Oh, just don't win the top deck war this hard, please. Oh, it's not even a top deck where I still have gas, but they're just drawing so well here. Okay. Kind of forced my hand here. I just need them to not draw a creature to kill Chandra. I mean, even if they draw the creature to kill Chandra, I take 0 damage next turn, and then I get to draw a million off Beaumont Courier soon enough, so... If they don't hit the creature right now, though, then Chandra does still win it. Okay. Alright, they drew close to perfectly, but that was a pretty big miss that turn. Because again, Chandra sticking ground is just like the kill for sure.
Yup, you're going down.
All right. Very, very solid deck from our opponent. Despite our explosively powerful top end that game, they were still really just like a single card from maintaining their lead there if they just had the creature to crew skiff and kill Chandra immediately on that one turn. But we got lucky and their top decks did stop at the perfect time to get the Chandra going. And we are 1-0 heading into game 2. And here we are for game number 2 with a great curve. We've got a 2-drop into a 3-drop, and that is not going to happen often in this deck. Start off with Eddie Trailhawk. Follow up with the Wheelsmith, and blocks should be incredibly difficult for our opponent. Ice over the Hawk. So I get to attack with it once, and then it's tapped forever. So we're just going to hold it up as a blocker then. There's the Hinterland Drake from our opponent, which can't block. I'm drawing way too many lands here. We need to draw some kind of action. We are on 3 spells, 7 lands so far. With Hinterland Drake's ability, I actually need the +1/+1 counter if they kill Wheelsmith, so I'll take it. And they do kill Wheelsmith with an Ice Over. Attack in, down 18. Another Artisan, not the worst. Just keep getting chunky over here. The only reason our deck really cares about servos is for the Dawnfeather Eagles. We don't really need 1/1 sitting around to crew anything or anything like that, so don't mind just playing 3 mana 3/3s off these Artisans. Opponent is stuck on mono blue, so potentially some opposite issues over there. We've got way too many lands, and they have too few. Not that they've missed a land drop, but that they've missed their second color. Actually, they probably missed a land drop. Yeah, they did miss a land drop that turn. 4 islands, nothing else. Wingsmith, pretty mediocre, but it is good enough to trade into an Artisan. But mediocre in the sense their 4 mana creature is going to trade down into our 3 mana creature. Put them to, what, 5 here? Pretty good. Here's Filigree Familiar. Bastion Mastodon. Put them to 1 with an Eddy Trailhawk attack, and then it never attacks again, but they're at 1 life. Oh. Yeah. Going for the kill seems quite reasonable. We put them to 1. Chandra shoots them for 2 with the plus ability. Alright. That is 2-0 heading into game 3.
Do this. Oh, today's my lucky day.
Here we are for game 3 on the draw. I do need to draw land 3, but if I do, the servo from the Artisan is going to get out the 3 Musketeers over here. All 3 brawlers that we're running are in the opening hand, which is hilarious, but also perfectly fine. There's Hidden Stockpile from our opponent to start things off. Here's Eddy Trailhawk. We are 2 for 2 on land draws, which is great to start us off. Only 1 land away from being able to cast anything in the whole deck if we draw into it. There's Servo Exhibition, chunky board, and they get to scry 1 every turn now because they just sack a servo and then get it right back in the end step. Sure. Honestly, especially with a Cataclysmic Gearhulk coming up, I am not going to put the servo out with Artisan. Because I know I have the 4 mana to just hard cast all these brawlers anyway, so I don't need the improvise going. Well, this is going to kill one of their 2 hidden stockpiles too, which is very, very funny. Okay. Double hidden stockpile is an issue, so they're going to be up a servo every single turn. Let's play Filigree Familiar because we just don't care if that dies to a board wipe. We just get our card back out of it. But I still want to be playing to the board a bit right now. Trying to put them under enough pressure to get them to commit more. Yeah, Gearhulk is going to be mandatory here, even if it's just killing a stockpile and some 1/1s. I kind of have to stop the double stockpile. Die Young the Hawk, sure. Even if they spend removal on our creatures, that kind of counts as, committing to the board in a way. It's getting to spend more cards into stuff that would just be dying to the Gearhulk regardless. Yep, we're happy with any trades here, and then we cast Gearhulk post-combat. Keep whatever's left in the Cataclysmic Gearhulk. I think I can keep Gearhulk as the artifact and Familiar as the creature. We'll see. So I think I lose nothing, but we just blow up a hidden stockpile here. Choose an artifact, choose a creature. Goodbye, a hidden stockpile. Sick. So we stop the wombo combo, perfect. Yeah, 5 mana, 4/5 vigilance, blow up 1 hidden stockpile. That's kind of exactly what we need this game. Just dismantle that combo and start bashing in with our big threat. The vigilance could also be very relevant here. It can get an attack in and then still be used to improvise out a brawler. If that gets us to the mana for double brawler, which it might, or like reprisal plus brawler. Does not get us to reprisal plus brawler mana. And I don't quite care if Filigree Familiar dies because I just draw the card. So I think I'm just jamming and saving reprisal for later. Cool. Let's see what the familiar finds. Self-assembler, sure thing. Come on out, big friend. Grab your buddy. Man, it's the last draft of the format. It's another 2 self-assembler deck. We did not get any 3 self-assembler decks this time. Just realizing that. That's the secret. Every deck in Kaladesh is a 2 self-assembler deck. Because I always draft it. Okay. 6 power over there. Reprisal now gets everything too small to kill anything on blocks. Cool. Could have played a brawler instead of attacking with this self-assembler. Might be better, but I like clearing out more of the board. Or putting them to 1, that's good too. We have 2 puzzle knots that will kill them, as well as Chandra would kill them. Stockpile makes this attack free. The server replaces itself. Okay. They got solid blocks for Gear Hulk now. But they can't kill both of these cards, right? So they just kill the Gear Hulk, chump self-assembler. Or the other way around. Both costs them just as many creatures. Play a menace threat. And another menace threat, and it should be possible for them to survive unless they have a fumigate or something, some kind of board wipe. They would need 5 blockers. Ether Sphere Harvester is not 5 blockers, it is 1 lifelinking blocker, so by attacking with Menace, I make sure they don't get any life, and we are 2-0 heading into game 3. I lied, we're 3-0. Turns out bombs are very good. Here we are on the play for game 4. Nothing tell familiar, but being on the play helps the speed of the hand a little bit. There's Ether Chaser. Uh-oh. Goggles into Chaser is one of the grossest starts in the set. Certainly at common. Probably the scariest one. Just a 3/3 first striker that spits out a servo every time it attacks. Chaser, an incredible common. And here it goes. But yeah, the goggles up on it is particularly brutal. So Chandra. Oh, this hand is like so crushing in a long game, but our opponent has a hand that's really crushing in the early game. Goggles into Chaser, into Infiltrator. 1-drop, 2-drop, 3-drop, all mana spent, all aggressive cards. I wish I could play this brawler without tapping Familiar, because I'd love to trade Familiar off an Infiltrator, but I can't, and I think I need to play to the board, so tapped Familiar it is. Okay. It's pretty bad. Here comes another servo. Really need that reprisal mana now. Kill a refiner and an infiltrator, or a refiner and a servo, because I can't afford to take this damage. Okay. There's reprisal. Land 5 would be huge. Play a 4/4 against the 3/3 first striker. Again, just that 3 power first strike still being nasty. There's a 3/2 menace. That doesn't do much. Can make it a 4/4 though. Yeah, that is scary. Let's go. Mana number 5. Here's Self-Assembler. Grab another Self-Assembler. If we stabilize, we win, but it's looking hard to stabilize here. Yep. Leaving the dust. Get the menace swing in. I mean, they don't even need the menace. Familiar can't kill Chaser because it's got first strike. We take 6, go to 6. They have our life total here. One more piece interaction, they've got us. Just an incredible opener from opponent. We'll see if it seals the deal next turn or not. Man, am I in such a position as to have to just sack Chandra to know that I'm not dead next turn? Do I have a chance of winning if I Chandra the Monitor? I'd still take 3 on board Chandraing the Monitor. If I just replay a Self-Assembler, though, go Menace the Monitor. If they've got the 1 removal spell, pretty much insta-dead. I'm kind of insta-dead to 1 removal spell either way. Right, Chandra the Monitor. They kill the Chandra, they just removal spell the next thing I do. I mean, I do think the deck is strong enough. I have big enough top decks for later that I could find a win without a Chandra, but I'm so unlikely to survive just playing a single Self-Assembler here. I'm slightly more likely to live just killing this Monitor.
I'm the best fire starter there is.
Slightly. Yeah, it sucks. This is just like guaranteeing Chandra's dead. But the alternative is that I am 99% to die. Okay. Kill Chandra is the play.
I am out of here.
Very happy they also attacked with Servo, because I don't think I would have blocked Ether Chaser if they attacked with it alone. Oh my god. Wow. Alright. I got the Mythics, but they have the premium commons and uncommons, just the perfect little blue-red kind of deck, like one of our 7-win blue-red decks. Getting demolished by my old self here. Yeah, Thopterist is insane here. It's way too much stuff on board. It's in the sky too, but there's too many things attacking me on the ground to not play 2 creatures this turn. The only way to play a flyer is to play only 1 card. Yeah. Yikes, man. All right, that was an unwinnable game if I've ever seen one, and we are 3-1 heading to game 5. Here we are for game 5, another slower hand here, but I've got the Puzzle Knot for the Ether Chaser if they don't have the goggles to go with it. So Ether Chaser, Ether Poisoner, the 2 mana 3/1, anything like that, we've got a solid defensive hand against. And the Welding Sparks, especially with the Puzzle Knot on board, is going to kill something a decent size bigger. Blue, white, no Ether Swooper, please. Okay, no Ether Swooper. Sadly, no 1 toughness card either. Down to 18. Possible with Brawler in hand, I should have just puzzle nutted face. But I don't feel like I'm in a rush. Now I just play Wheelsmith. It's weird, I played against a lot of blue, but I feel like I've played against very few copies of Metallic Rebuke. But that card is really nice. Visionary Augmenter again. Getchy. Very big board. And the puzzle knot is solid here. But so is just playing some 3/3s. Some 3 toughness cards against all that. Yeah, our deck is more big Boros. It's kind of playing the long game rather than trying to get early aggro. So I don't think I need to like puzzle knot Augmenter and then try to send in Wheelsmith. Can hold it as a blocker for the 1/1s. So let's just play a 3/3. We'll play the most expensive 3/3. Play for the defensive here. Renegade map. Can find a splash color for them next turn. Windkin Raiders. That'll get Sparks, I think. Yeah, we don't know when we're going to hit the Eagle mana. I mean, I suppose I'm only 1 land away from Eagle. And whenever the Eagle does come down, I'm not scared of Raiders anymore. I just trade into it. And that's fine. Yeah, sure. Even with Eagles coming up for Artisan, I'm more interested in a 3/3 to block the 2 power creatures, stop them from attacking on the ground at all. Splash color is black. You like a Tezzeret's Touch for a 1/1 here? Make it a 5/5. Could be removal or something. There's land 5. See if they got that counter spell. You definitely always Eagle main phase 1. Sicko mode. I mean, Courier is a card draw engine, but it's not going to be able to get more than 1 attack in at this point anyway, so it's never going to draw me a card realistically. So probably just have it trade into a bigger creature while it still can. Oh, that's so funny, the Nombo with the Wheelsmith. I wasn't even considering that. I was like, okay, so we make this attack, and we probably make Renegade not able to block, or Augmenter not able to block, and it's like, wait, I don't get to use Wheelsmith because it's not tapped. It's not a trigger when it declares an attack, it's a trigger when it becomes tapped, so that you can use that trigger when you're crewing vehicles as well. That's funny. This is all fine on board, but they've got a bunch of mana up. It just happens on board. Sick. We just got a Fumigate or something? Some kind of board wipe? Be pretty bad. That looks like a no to me. They would have board wiped if they had it. Let's Eagle. Go big. They're down to 5. Okay, now they have the board wipe. And there's Ether Theorist. I mean, either they top deck the board wipe or they are genuinely insane. That was a really bold board to not board wipe if you had it in hand already. But it's all good. Like, they board wipe and have 2 cards left, and I've got 2 cards left, draw a card. So it's an even board even after the board wipe. Scry to the top. Could have sparks the Theorist before it gets a single scry. Oh, Alright, well. I mean, even if I did Welding Sparks to Theorist, that was already on top of their deck, so it wouldn't have changed the game at all. But that's frustrating. The Cloud Blazer, 2 for 1 off the top. Just perfect post-board wipe. Man, oh, that's so tilting. Because it's like it wasn't even in their hand post-Fumigate. They would have just played it instead of Theorist. Wait, no, they played a Fumigate and a Theorist in the same turn, didn't they? And they wouldn't have had the mana to do that plus Cloud Blazer. Maybe Cloud Blazer was just in their hand already and that was their plan to take over. What an absurd card post-board wipe, though. The huge 3 for 1. Alright. Our first draw is a mountain. And now we have to let them just keep scrying, because I have to kill these flyers. So they get to keep scrying, being much less likely to draw dead. Man, this was literally a game where I'm like, even if they have the board wipe, I've got like 3 cards left, so I'm fine, and they just had absurd 2 for 1, or sorry, 3 for 1 afterward.
Let's see how you stand up to scrutiny. Your options are decreasing.
Well, it wouldn't be another Kaladesh draft without me losing to a board wipe at least once. And I was supposed to be the board wiper. I have Cataclysmic Gearhulk. I was supposed to finally get revenge to dying to Gearhulk and Fumigate and expertise over and over in these drafts. Nope. Not today. We are 3-2 heading into game 6. Here we are for game 6 on the draw. Great opening hand. Okay. Wind and Constrictor immediately turn 2, so all of their +1/+1 counters and energy counters, they're 2 now. So this into anything with Fabricate is brutal. We're going to just Welding Sparks that immediately, as soon as possible. If we were on the play, we could have killed it before it does anything, but because we're on the draw, they get at least 1 trigger if they have a 3-mana Fabricate card. Just going to be nasty. Okay, they don't have a Fabricate card, but they do have an energy card, so they get 3 energy instead of 2. So they still definitely get value off that. A little tempted to Puzzle Knot Poisoner instead, but I'm pretty confident we just have to kill Constrictor here. And Infiltrator for Poisoner is fine before they get any servos off it. And it's having their Death Toucher trait into something that has 1 toughness anyway. Alright, down to 19, plus they make a servo. Defiant Salvager. That would have been pretty nasty with the Constrictor. Get 2 +1/+1 counters every time they do that. Infiltrator for Salvager's fine. They don't take the trade. Let's go Brawler, because again, Wheelsmith is kind of awkward with Eagle. Double Winding Constrictor. I don't think I've seen any early Winding Constrictors in our drafts. I've never even been open to going the green-black energy route, green-black +1/+1 counter route, but it is a cool, powerful deck. But I think we've only really seen these, like, pack 3, really, where we're on completely different stuff. But this card is fantastic. Yeah, so here's the energy 3. There's the 2 counters on Salvager. Okay. Can't kill the Constrictor, which is a real issue. A Brawler trade up into Salvager or Constrictor here off of Eagle, or I can just Puzzle Knot Poisoner. They're already not attacking with Poisoner, so I don't think I need to Puzzle Knot it. Yeah, this trade is fine. It's the trade we offered like 4 turns ago at this point. 3 turns ago, I guess. They're down to 8, facing a 3/3 flyer. And a 3/3 menace. That part is less relevant. But the 3/3 flyer is definitely a thing. Oh no! That gets 3 +1/+1 counters because of Constrictor's ability, right? They move 2 counters, but Constrictor makes it 3? Or is it just 2? It does make it 3. It does make it 3. That's horrendous. 5/5 flying lifelink. So I need to draw Cataclysmic Gearhulk. Or I need them to have no combat trick in hand and to just take this block. Okay. I need to draw Cataclysmic Gearhulk or GG. That's it. We can't outrace 5 life gain a turn. If there's any chance to do so, it would be by poking for 1 with Puzzle Knot here. But I don't think there is. But this way I have the mana for a ping 2 next turn off Puzzle Knot still. Okay, 3/5 flying lifelink has arrived as well. If I play another Puzzle Knot, then not right now, but the turn after this one, I can double Puzzle Knot the Marauder on blocks. I can go block, sack both Puzzle Knots. I can't attack with Eagle, they just block with Harvester. I can't stop Harvester from blocking, I can only stop Creature from blocking, so I can just crew it after Wheelsmith's ability. Wheelsmith for Constrictor that bad? I don't think so. Well, no, they could just crew Harvester and block Wheelsmith. Shoot. So I can't stop anybody from blocking, so all I can do, is attack with Brawler and have it get double blocked by Harvester Salvager. I get to kill Salvager with Brawler, but that's still not really doing anything positive for us. I have to just pass. Not particularly relevant. If they've drawn any tricks or removal, I cannot win here. Because I don't get to kill the Marauder. This is sorcery speed, so I can like kill Salvager and ping them for 2 and then be tapped out from doing anything about Marauder, let them hit me for 5 again and gain another 5 again. We're just all in on block Marauder ping ping. And then even after that, they just start killing me with their lifelinking rare vehicle thing in the sky because I had to lose my only flyer. Another Salvager. Actually, come to think of it, I'm surprised they haven't been attacking with the Harvester also, in addition to Marauder by now. Because even if we hit our only other flyer in their deck, if we hit another 3/5, or sorry, 3/3 Dawnfeather Eagle Flyer, it just can't block a 3/5 regardless. This is probably like as good as Reprisal's gonna get right now. Okay, I can't block Aethersphere Harvester. I also can't attack into it with Wheelsmith. Because Wheelsmith just makes Constrictor unable to block, and then they crew and eat Wheelsmith, so I guess it's just Brawler, which they can't block either way. But they've got enough energy to now just hit me for 3 with lifelink every turn off of this great rare vehicle thing. We did draft that one time on the return trip, but I also think we only drew it like one time. So I haven't gotten to play with it too much, but it is pretty bonkers. Yep. Hit for 3 gain, 3 turns in a row, and we're over, but got a tiny bit of life gain with Filigree Familiar to extend that clock by 1 more turn. So you're telling me there's a chance? Crew 1 is so easy to hit. If they have any creature in their hand or on top of their deck here, Chandra's just dead if I minus, but I really feel like that's my only choice. If I just plus Chandra, then they're guaranteed to hit Chandra for at least 3 if they want. Or just hit me for 3 again. I mean, I guess if I hold a blocker up here, so I can have Filigree Familiar up as a blocker for Constrictor. So if they draw a creature, they play a creature, crew, harvester, attack with both, but I can block Constrictor, and Chandra only gets hit by 1. I guess Chandra plus play Familiar is actually pretty legit here. And slightly safer than minusing Constrictor. I'm really tempted to take the gamble and minus Constrictor, because then if they don't have a creature in hand, or draw a creature, then they don't even crew Harvester. But I don't know. The thing that leads me towards that play is, like, I feel like if they had a creature in hand, they would have played it. With 7 mana up, there's, like, no reason not to play a creature here. So it's just, is the top card of their deck a creature at all? But it can be anything, because it's crew of only 1. I don't know. This still feels really good to plus here. So I'm going to do that.
You wanna play with
Well,
fire, huh?
yeah, I'm going to plus.
Oh, this is gonna hurt.
Let's see what they've got. They've got Crew Harvester, attack Chandra. I love that. Genuinely love this outcome.
Alright, that's it!
They're not attacking face or anything here. Not play another creature. Okay. Golden. They do get to kill Chandra next turn, but we can likely outrace them at that rate.
This'll be easy.
Technically, with how they drew, it would have been better to just minus, but again, we could not have known whether or not they'd have a creature on top, so I did not want to take the risk. Of them just going creature off the top, putting me in a really bad spot. So here's the creature. Oof. That is horrific. Because they crew and drain for 1 to get even more life gain. Oh my god, Night Market Lookout off the top is bad, bad. They're at 10 life here. They can kill Chandra, be at 10, and then die. No, this is probably still fine. We still win if the last 2 cards in their hand are irrelevant, which they kind of seem to be because they haven't played them in a long time. So they just go to 10, and then we attack with everybody, shut off the 1 blocker, hit for 10. Because we hit for 12 here.
I say it's over.
Cataclysmic Gearhulk if they somehow survive. Okay. Oh, that was a lucky game. Our opponent had some really strong synergy stuff going on. I'm in a very powerful deck from them with the double Winding Constrictor coming out pretty early there. Being able to stack up some counters there and then have the synergy to move them all to that Marauder as a 5/5 flying lifelink thanks to the Constrictor. That was like such a bad spot. There was almost no way we were coming out of that one. The only shot was that they just had no instant speed removal or combat tricks to stop us from block plus double Puzzle Knot. And even playing that play, it feels like a play where we end up behind to the Harvester, and it certainly was. We were behind there after doing that, but in a slightly better spot than beforehand. But we drew the Reprisal to kill 2 of their creatures, and then we drew the Chandra to just barely outrace the Aethersphere Harvester. Played to our outs there and got very, very lucky in hitting them. That is 4-2 heading into game number 7. Here we are for game 7. This hand doesn't do anything until turn 4, and that's only if it hits a red source, ideally double red source. And we're on the draw. Yeah, that's as spicy as that looks. It's not keepable. Okay, this is much more keepable. Ditch the 5-drop probably. Pray for mountains. Come on, mountains. Well, 1 mountain. Playing against the blue deck? No! Don't curve out on me, that's my biggest weakness. Despite being Boros. What are you doing here? What are you? Heathen. God dang it. Alright, well, Puzzle Knot was the best draw in the deck here. I was going to say, we're just about to get blue-red Dream Curved again. Slightly different Dream Curve, no goggles this time, which is incredibly relevant. If this Minister were goggles instead, this would be probably a repeat of our first loss. Just goggles into Chaser, 3/3 first strike. Whoop, guess I'm dead. I guess I've got the Sparks this time, though, too. Uh-oh. Do not have a rare 3-mana artifact, please. No Aethersphere Harvester, 1 time. Okay, it's not a rare. It's pretty sketchy out of blue-red, though. +1/+1 counter every time they make an energy. Concerning. Certainly concerning. Should I spark some Minister? Not with a Reprisal. Off of 1 more land, I think. Especially it's a solid against Minister, we can pick up a Gearhulk. Or Self-Assembler. No Gear Hulk engrave yet, but just like if they mill it. We do have a self-assembler or a puzzle knot engrave, so those are some options. Prophetic Prison. Alright, come on, top deck. Any land, any land. Any land for the sickest furious reprisal. Oh yeah, come on, land, 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 land. I believe in you. We have to believe in the heart of the cards, Yugi. I think I'm stuck on mana enough here to take this trade, rather than holding this off to get a self-assembler later. I think, like, take this trade, draw land, kill both of these would be an awesome position. I'm gonna go for it. Heart of the cards. Please. Let's go. Beep boop. Opponent is not happy right now. There's the mill. Both my self-assemblers. That's actually a good thing, though. Once they've milled the first self-assembler, you really don't want to draw the other one, because then it's a 5-mana 4/4 no abilities. But a 4/4 is pretty relevant right now, it looks like. Fabrication module. No creatures. Say hello? Well... Well. I know most players haven't been playing Rebukes, but this is the kind of deck I'd be shoving a lot of Metallic Rebukes into. I think I'm playing around Metallic Rebuke. I'm gonna play Eagle first. Okay, there's no Metallic Rebuke. Nobody likes that card but me, apparently. Everybody loves Fabrication Module, though, and I don't. There's Self-Assembler. Chandra that away. They have no haste over there, so Chandra's going to stick around, get us more value next turn. Let's go. Boop.
My hair is on fire? I know.
Oh, they could Pyro Helix Chandra. That'd be kind of sad. Taxes them off of playing Self-Assembler this turn, though. Gear Seeker Serpent. I need more artifacts for that, don't I? This is 4 damage. 5 once I play Familiar. I could go Familiar, Puzzle Knot, and Spark Sip. I don't have the mana for that. That takes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I only have 8, because Chandra can +2 for mana here. So I can't kill Gear Seeker Serpent before it kills Chandra. Tragedy. Yeah, 4 damage, 5 damage after Familiar. I need Familiar down and the mana to cast Sparks plus crack Puzzle Knot. I'm just 1 mana off. Alright, I mean, they'll have to tap out to kill her. They have to spend the 6, so that's still going to be decent for me.
Today's my lucky day. Yup, you're going down.
Yep, tap out, kill Chandra, die to everybody else. Or do they have double removal here? And instant speed instead. If they have double removal, this would be very bad. They could actually impact the board and kill Chandra in the same turn, but they don't, so. Alright, big counterattacks here, big counterattacks. I can kill Gear Seeker or play Brawler. I can't do both. One, two, three, four, 5. I think I kill Gear Seeker while I still can. Because it can get bigger from module, potentially. And we could also lose an artifact here. Okay, they're down to 6, then I can shut off a blocker with Wheelsmith if they don't have removal. Which kind of feels like they don't unless they top decked it, because most of their removal would be red burn spells they could have thrown at Chandra. Like Furious Reprisal, Pyro Helix. That would have been a flavor fail though, Pyro Helixing Chandra. Chandra Pyro Helixes herself. So maybe they're a Vorthos. And they just didn't want to do it for flavor reasons. And they'll Pyro Helix Wheelsmith now. Welding Sparks, the Wheelsmith, go to 1. Welding Sparks, Wheelsmith go to 1. They're facing a flyer, a menace threat, and an additional attacker. We'll see how they get out of this. Land for turn. Shipwreck Moray. Pretty chunky with the fabrication module. But very dead on board. We send in the team. And there's the concession from our opponent. Kind of just another game that shows off how much I just don't like fabrication module. They got 1+1/+1 counter off of it that game. I mean, we have seen it 3 times, I think, and we've seen it exclusively in games where it lines up really poorly. Technically, yes, it could line up really well and pop off in some games, but the risk is high when you get it in games like this and you're just kind of down a card. Over that just being another creature to block and trade with or something. So, yeah, just another game of Chandra doing incredible things to stabilize us and flip the game in the late game. Other than that, just some good defensive early plays with Puzzle Knot and Sparks keeping us alive against a pretty decent blue-red curve out there. Minister and a Chaser and a Mage there. Furious Reprisal was massive here. So yeah, very, very, very solid stuff from all the cheap burn this game. And of course, Chandra. That is 5-2 now, guaranteed to be in the money out of this draft. Here we are on the play for game number 7. This is very close between a mulligan and a keep. I'm 1 land away from playing anything, right? If I don't get a land at all, I can't play any cards here. Once I hit that land, I can at least play Artisan and Brawler. And if I hit 2 mana, the hand is incredibly powerful with a Chandra coming up. The issue is that it has 2 5-drops, a 4-drop, and a 3.5-drop with Sweatworks Brawler. So it desperately needs the lands, but I mean, the power is really here. I think it's worth the risk. And we are, again, just 1 land draw in the first 3 draw steps away from going, or first 2 drop steps away from going Artisan Brawler guaranteed. And there's another 3 drop if we hit any land. Got 3 early game plays. Let's go. We do hit a land. I'm going to start with Familiar here. Either play is going to be able to improvise out the Brawler, and this one's a little better if it gets killed, or if it just wants to block immediately. Playing against Orzhov. Orzhov is technically supposed to be a sacrifice deck in this format. Ooh, wow, we hit the Chandra mana. Let's go. I don't even think I'm playing the Chandra, though, on this board. Like, I would just Chandra and plus for nothing. So I think I'm just playing Sweatworks Brawler. Anyways, black-white in this format is supposed to be like a sacrifice deck, as we saw with like the hidden stockpiles and stuff. But it does really become just like a go-wide kind of token deck a lot. There's a lot of fabricate cards in both black and white to make a really, really wide board state. What a filthy turn, by the way. Stram's Expertise is a pretty disgusting Magic card. You basically get 3 1/1s for 1 mana because you get to cast your 3-drop for free the turn that you do it. So 3 1/1s and an aerial responder for the turn is brutal. Not even a Chandra really holds a candle to that. I can't just like Chandra here and hope to defend her. That's not going to work out. That said, I really need to kill aerial responder. It's going to lifelink me out of this game. So I might have to just cast Chandra as if she's a copy of Chandra's Revolution, kill an aerial responder, and let her die. Yeah, I have other really strong late game plays. Gotta do what you gotta do. I could sit on my butt and try to wait for Dawn Feather Eagle, but they would just keep going more and more out of reach. And this board is not looking like it's going to get better for Chandra anytime soon. So playing the Chandra here, I get to kill that and a couple 1/1s most likely. Still swing the board pretty wide in my favor and then just start slamming down Eagles instead. Toolcraft Exemplar, sure. Well, that's kind of an issue that it crews Garrison by itself. So they can just Garrison the Chandra. I mean, I can chump Garrison with Familiar to keep her around, so they'll have to send all the servos still. Alright, cool. So Chandra was 4 mana, destroy aerial responder, kill 2 servos. Still a great deal.
Guess you don't need me anymore.
Just not quite as explosive as one would hope. I am so happy to draw a card here. Thank you. Land 5, beautiful. Puzzle Not Away Exemplar. And Prowler. Gonna mechanic the Prowler? Sure. Okay, so no Puzzle Not on the Prowler. Okay. Wow, I got a lot of options here. They're down to 2 cards in hand. Basically 1. They have a 4th Bridge Prowler and something. 19 life. I don't need to Puzzle Knot anything immediately. I can Puzzle Knot Exemplar later. We can just start with Self-Assembler. We know that they have a -1/-1 in hand, so we're not blocking a 3 power card. We're not going to block Exemplar. We're not going to block Garrison. So I think I only need the 1 blocker up here. I can attack with Brawler. Kill Mechanic and a Servo here. If they want. Nope, they'll take the damage. They got their own Dawn Feather Eagles. That's going to be bad. Demolition of Self-Assembler. Play Inventor's Goggles. Alright. They're out of cards now. It's just that Prowler. So I'm feeling like we are favored by quite a lot. Like, I'm under some pressure here, but it should be easy to stabilize with all this beef. Okay. 1 land draw away from Eagle plus Puzzle Knot on the same turn, which would be really good, obviously. Again, I don't think the Brawler block is super good, but at the same time, if I just remain stable, I will have a really winning board, so I'm going to focus on that. Well, realistically speaking, Brawler is only blocking the Servo. Even then, it's not really blocking anybody, right? Because they could put the Goggles on the Servo, and then I go, like, block a Mechanic or block the other thing and get 4th Bridge Prowlered. But if they're attacking with those, then I can put Self-Assembler on a 2-power creature, and the Self-Assembler doesn't get 4th Bridge Prowlered. I'm just going to chill. I'll start attacking when I play Eagles. We're just going to start spamming Eagles very soon. I might go Artisan Puzzle Knot first, and then start spamming Eagles. Well, I was not considering that. I was not considering Goggles on Exemplar here. I probably should have been, so we just Puzzle Knot Exemplar. Alright, well, I kind of have to kill their beef at this point, because the Exemplar is so bad with the Goggles on it. Yeah, that might be the punt of the game. Just not killing Exemplar while I didn't have Goggles on it. Please move the Goggles. Oh my god, thank you. Okay, it's not the punt of the game. Oh, and I just top deck like a champion. I mean, they won't have the artifacts left for Exemplar if I cast this. It feels slightly awkward that they can choose to keep Exemplar, but they'll only have one artifact out for Exemplar anyway. So it won't have First Strike. Yeah, just cast it. Artifact, creature, submit. They probably keep like Servo Exemplar here. Goggles Exemplar. They want to keep the 4/4. It plays as a 4/4 by itself. That still doesn't attack into Gear Hulk, so I jam. Demolition. Okay, take 3. No land to Eagle Puzzle Knot, but Puzzle Knot's still great against Exemplar. Go wide and safe here. And get the kill in a couple swings. Oof. Visionary Augmenter. That certainly holds us off a little, but the Dawn Feather Eagles are going to be massive here. Eat my servo, chump, if you want. Just eat the servo. They're super dead in the sky. We got tons of flying here, especially with Eddie Trailhawk jumping somebody else in the sky. Alright. Very lucky game there. I definitely punted early, not puzzle knotting the Augmenter when I still could. Before it had the goggles on it. We certainly should have went for a puzzle knot turn there earlier, but we top decked the Cataclysmic Gear Hulk, and that just auto wins from there. So we are 6-2, being carried by some incredible bomb rares, hopefully all the way to the top, because this is the final battle, our final chance at getting another 7-win run in the Kaladesh Remastered format. Here we are on the play for our final boss, our final game of Kaladesh Remastered, period. Win or lose, this is going to end the final draft with a 6-3 or 7-2 run, and I really like the opening hand, but I am sure our opponent really likes theirs as well, with Ovia Pashiri to start it off. Incredible card that wins the game single-handedly. A whole army in a can, particularly with that 5-mana ability, making some really big abilities. Oh my god, yeah. Our opponent has a really, really good start over there. I do have a Welding Sparks to kill the Servant before they get any mana out of it. Then I can Chandra away the Ovia still. Welding Sparks is also my only way to kill bigger green creatures, but stopping them from ramp here feels important. I think I am going to Sparks the Servant. It's also fixing if they don't have their second color in hand. Because they did go Forest instead of Forest second color. Oh, let's go. What a great choice killing that. Alright, so I can Chandra and kill Ovia, but then Chandra dies to Skyskiff if they cast any creature at all. And I don't need to kill Ovia until they're close to using the 5-mana abilities, so I can just start getting a little aggressive myself. Skyskiff is pretty annoying for Chandra to deal with because it's a vehicle that can get crewed as a flyer. Oh, top deck the planes. Not punished for the monocolored keep. I mean, I would have kept it too. Forest, Ovia, Servant to the Conduit. Pray for that Conduit to hit the mana. We played it out right of blowing up the Conduit. They just got lucky and hit the second source anyway. This is starting to look really bad still, because we know their hand is all spells here. So really, really rewarded for the monocolor 2-lander keep. And Chandra just lines up so awkwardly into Skyskiff. He's not doing enough here. I mean, I can Chandra plus play Familiar, and they have to start sending damage her way instead of at her face. 5 loyalty, poke, 3 loyalty. I can still minus Ovia that way. It's gonna be worth it. I mean, what am I even holding on hope for? To stop the Sky Skiff? One of our double Dawn Feather Eagles. There's only 2 in the deck, though. There's 1 more Welding Sparks to maybe deal with this guy. So I have 3 outs to protecting Chandra. Feels highly unlikely. I think I'm going to cash in the value I can get right now.
Hey, over here. Oh, this is gonna hurt.
Get the mana buff for the double spell this turn. Kill on Ovia or draw a card next turn. We also soak up some damage, force them to make some really aggressive plays to get at her. Land 4 now for our opponent. 2 for 2 on excellent draws. Crew the Skiff. Attack Chandra with the squad. This is probably like a combat trick. If it was a combat trick big enough to kill Chandra, they could just use it on Sky Skiff in the first place. So I'm unsure what the extra attacks are for. Right, because if it's like the +3/+3 out of white, they just kill Chandra. Okay, so it's impeccable timing. That makes more sense.
Now you've done it.
And then Toolcraft Exemplar. Not you again? Puzzle Knot. Nah, that's not a Puzzle Knot. Okay, I can kill Ovia and lose Chandra, period. Or gamble on a draw here. I think I have to kill Ovia. They're 1 land away from just like spitting out a 4/4 and then a 5/5 and then a 6/6 and not even having to spend a card to do it. Yeah, Ovia's too busted. Alright, so we just trade bombs. We trade bombs, and now we're grinding out the long game, getting hit for 2 a turn by Sky Skiff until we draw an Eagle. But I got a decent life total to take these hits for a bit. This is a 3/2, so 2/2s do line up really well. I'm gonna go wide. Oh, we're going big. Because if they're attacking with 2 toughness stuff, I'll just lose a Filigree Familiar and draw a card anyway. I mean, I guess a 3/3 Artisan would be a better attacker for like if they just hold off the Skiff and try to be on blocks, but they're on all spells in hand, so I doubt that's the thing that they're going to be doing. Uh-oh. Oh, Puzzle Knot. You're such a beautiful draw. Please cometh. Blow up Exemplar and Propeller Pioneer. We have double Puzzle Knot and double Dawn Feather Eagle as our best draws. Those are all incredible. Okay. But I do have more than that. I have a lot of really good draws. Those are just the ones I can think of off the top of my head that I'm a big fan of. Kind of need 2 2/2s up. Awkwardly. Okay, so the really good draws: 2 Puzzle Knot, 2 Dawn Feather Eagle, 1 Furious Reprisal, a Cataclysmic Gear Hulk, a Self-Assembler. Well, there's 2 Self-Assemblers in the deck. It's like 10-ish. Incredible draws. There were a lot of 2s in that list. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, there's 8. Just like game flipping draws. And then plenty of other non-lands we could hit. Looking to find that soon, though. Very happy to lose a familiar to dig for one of those. Welding Sparks is honestly not bad, but it's not incredible. It was not on the list of the 8 insta-win cards. Nor is the Mountain, that's for sure. Alright, we're full defensive now. We probably have to Welding Sparks the Skiff. This Bristling Hydra is a huge problem, though. The Hexproof to stop the Welding Sparks. It's a 5/4, essentially. So that can rip apart most of our board and get the rest of their ground creatures attacking in as well, speeding up this clock a lot. I mean, if they attack with Hydra, I could set up the block with Familiar and a 1/1, and then if they activate it, I respond with Welding Sparks. If they don't activate it, then the trade is fine. Crew the Skiff. It's probably just attack in the sky, I imagine. Yep. Okay. I am very tempted to slow down the clock here and just kill the Skiff. But then I'm ditching my Bristling Hydra removal. But they were already choosing not to attack with Hydra, so I think I'm Sparksing Skiff. There's actually a better time to do this. In this format, there are combat tricks that only work when the creature is declared as an attacker, so I could have technically Welding Sparks before they declared an attack with the Skiff, but after they crewed it. If I do that, though, I wouldn't have the Sparks up for if they attacked with Hydra, which would also feel rough. Ooh, Aviary Mechanic to Propeller Pioneer? At least they don't have the mana to recast it this turn. Cool. Land draws is very not cool. Come on, top deck. There's that puzzle knot we were talking about. Pretty exceptional here. That buys us a lot of time. Hopefully our opponent finds their own land clump now. They're still on only 6 lands that we know of. Ether Inspector, that is definitely not a land clump. That's another +1/+1 counter on Hydra to make it a 5/5. Or not a 5/5, 5 toughness. That's the important part. So it can kill our whole board and then everybody else on the ground gets to attack in. So Hydra is go. Let's draw a card here. Uh-oh. Not like this arena. Not like this arena. Surprising Inspector attack. They got a trick in hand, or are they just gonna let me kill their 2/3 that spits out creatures with a 2/2? They had a trick in hand, they could attack with everybody. It'd be a little suspicious, though. Okay, Appetite. Fair. That would be would not let them attack with everybody, but let them make that attack. I think it's a little too late for that, but it's kind of very funny that I have enough mana to play that and cast the second one. Our opponent's on 6 lands, we are on 11. Pass the turn. When I can double block Hydra and only lose one of the two, and then the other two can eat some of the other stuff, but I'm down to 10, so I'm taking pretty severe damage to do that. If they just attack with the whole board twice in a row, that would be their best bet. Oh. Pass. Okay. Hello, Artisan. Oh, they did spend the energy, so Hydra's only a 5/4 now. That's pretty nice for me. Oh boy. What is this, Inspired Charge for +2/+1 to everybody? So this is it's 5 toughness. 7 power, 5 toughness. If that's the case, this is 4 power, 4 toughness. 5 power, 4 toughness. I don't have reasonable blocks in the slightest. If this is Inspired Charge, I'm gonna just die. Even if I triple block here, I take 9 and then die next turn. Alright, I mean, I guess you got me with Inspired Charge. If this is any other single combat trick, I think this is the best blocks we can make. Man, what a bummer. Six and 3 it is. For the final Kaladesh Remastered draft, oh, that would have been such a sick ending. We could have ended with a 7-win right into Mythic on the final draft, but we just lost the top deck war hard, drawing almost twice as many lands as our opponent. Definitely part of Magic. That is going to end the Kaladesh Remastered drafts, and that is going to end this run. We'll take another look at the deck here. I thought this deck was excellent. The biggest flaw in it is that the early game plays are very mediocre and very inconsistent, right? Our early game is very, very light. If we had better 2-drops and more defensive plays, maybe a couple Ether Chasers or something, instead of this Restoration Specialist and one of these Brawlers, or maybe one of these Eagles, just a little bit more early game, I think this deck would be really close to perfect, because the removal, I mean, Reprisal, Double Sparks, Puzzle Knot was very solid. Chandra's a removal spell as well. We had Bomb Power between Chandra and Gear Hulk. We had some good aggressive ways to get damage in between all the Menace, the shutting off blocks, the Flyers in the late game. I thought this deck was really, really powerful. The only big issue, again, being that mana curve. It needed just a bit more early game blockers, a bit more 2-drops, maybe some better ones instead of Specialist, some Ether Chasers instead, and then this deck would be perfect. But I think it was quite close and very capable of a 7-win run. Just did not quite get there today. We certainly saw the flaws of our deck, and our very first loss was against that blue-red deck that just super, super aggroed us out. We just did not have enough early game blocks and stuff to survive long enough there. But the other losses were kind of just rough. We just lost some long game top deck war style games of Magic, which is what it is. Yeah. 6 and 3 it'll be for the final Kaladesh Remastered Premier Draft. But that is going to end today's video. As always, I'd like to thank my patrons and YouTube members for their support, as well as you for watching the video. If you enjoyed it and you're interested in seeing some more, you can always like, comment, and subscribe to tell the YouTube algorithm to send you some more in your recommended feed. If you'd like to catch me live, you can check out the Twitch channel in the link in the description below. And if you'd like to support the channel directly, you can check out the Patreon link in the description below. But other than that, as always, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you again soon for some more Magic Arena.